Would you refuse to apologize even if it meant losing that person forever? Why do they even need an apology so bad anyway? Well, let's take Jake as an example. Jake did something that hurt his sister Yasmin, and now Yasmin wants an apology, but Jake won't give it. Oh, he'll say sorry all right, but then he'll follow it up with a not sorry, sorry, not sorry, sorry, not sorry. And now he's really ticking his sister off. He's laughing about it, but Yasmin isn't laughing. She doesn't think it's funny. And then with her finger right up in her brother's face, she says, "You will apologize or I'm going no contact with you." She can see that Jake is clueless as to how he's hurting her, but she thinks that if she doesn't get an apology from him, then he'll just do stuff like this again, and maybe even worse. Jake doesn't think that his behavior was that bad, but he doesn't realize that what he did triggered a deeper wound in Yasmin. It was something from her childhood. Jake can't see that, and to be honest, neither can Yasmin. She thinks it's all about what Jake did, and she's right to want an apology. But Yasmin is mega upset now. She is practically begging Jake to restore her trust in him. But she doesn't tell him this in a way that he can hear it. She just keeps insisting that he apologize. The apology has now become the battlefront. But what do you think? Will Jake apologize or won't he? Well, yeah, you guessed right. Jake will not back down. No way. He's not apologizing. He knows he did the wrong thing, but he's annoyed that his sister is making such a big deal out of it. What's with her? Remember, he can't see the pain that's been triggered in Yasmin, and he's completely downplaying his role in it all. It's clear that Jake can't read the conflict truthfully now, because he would need empathy to see what's going on, especially when people's feelings are involved. So Jake puffs himself up and fires back at Yasmin. "Yeah, well, you owe me an apology too. And if I don't get it, I'm going to go no contact with you." He doesn't really mean it. And because he doesn't mean it, he thinks that Yasmin doesn't mean it either. Jake tends to react this way when he thinks that someone is trying to shame him. Guilt says, "I did something bad," but shame says, "I am bad." Jake experienced a lot of painful shaming in his childhood. He was made to feel that he was 100% bad for all the little things that he did. And back then he learnt to cope with this by refusing to take on board shame when he didn't think he deserved it. And well, he doesn't think he deserves it now. And he vowed to never, ever, ever apologize for small stuff again. But Yasmin doesn't know this about Jake. It's easy for her to say sorry. She does it all the time. Sorry, sorry. If Jake would only listen to his conscience, then he could stop doing dumb stuff. But Jake's not listening. He's overriding his conscience because he just wants to have thoughts that make him feel better about himself. Jake often feels bad about himself. A lot of the time, really. If Jake would just give Yasmin that apology, then his shameful feelings would go away because Yasmin wants to forgive him if he apologizes. But that's not the way that the cookie's crumbling here. Jake has got himself into a real pickle now. And so all that shame that he feels about himself, he's now trying to throw it all back onto Yasmin. He's telling everyone that Yasmin should be ashamed of herself for acting so crazy. He thinks that she's a bitter, judgmental and controlling beep. Jake's self-worth is on the line here, and he will fight to have self-worth, even if it means losing his relationship with his sister. He thinks that his self-worth comes from always being in the right, and so he fights to always be in the right. And besides, he doesn't think that his sister would cut him out of her life over something so small. Again, Jake's lack of empathy leaves him not able to see the deeper effect that he's having on his sister. And then, bam, she does it. She wipes him. She blocks him on social media. She blocks him on her phone. Jake can't believe that she would be so messed up to do this to him. He doesn't understand what even just happened. So he tells himself she must be a narcissist. And then he tells himself that he's glad she's gone no contact with him. Good riddance, who needs her anyway? The painful thing here for Jake was that he thought his sister was trying to shame him. He thinks he's better off without someone who thinks he's such a bad person. So he tells everyone that he doesn't care that Yasmin won't speak to him. He tells himself that too. Even still, Jake thinks that Yasmin will calm down eventually and get over it. After all, he's her brother. It's the family thing. Let's keep in mind how all this started. Jake did something to hurt Yasmin, and Yasmin asked for an apology. So will Jake be able to overcome his feelings of shame and apologise to Yasmin for hurting her? Will Jake and Yasmin be able to work out that a lot of their pain is coming from their past rather than from each other? Well, some people wouldn't be able to do this, but Jake and Yasmin can, because they're both dolls, and dolls can do anything. No dolls were harmed in the making of this. Thanks for watching.